Hello everyone, my name is Minchen Ku. For today, I am going to show you how to answer the Toefl Junior speaking test. I learned Toefl Junior in Easy English Institute Cebu. In EIC, I discovered some useful techniques in acing the test. Firstly, my teachers in EIC have been teaching me on how I improve my reading aloud skill with thought groups, appropriate intonation, and pronunciation. I practice with them diligently in class. Secondly, I try to use some transitional words to give a compelling six-picture story. Subsequently, I also learned how to take important notes, which helps me a lot in answering the test 3 and 4 in Toefl Junior speaking. So now, let me give you an example how I did it. For the first task, it is read aloud.
In this task, you will read a short passage aloud. You will have time to read the passage silently before you read the passage aloud and record it. You will hear a beep to tell you when to read silently and when to read aloud. Do your best to pronounce words clearly. Read at a normal rate. Do not read too quickly or too slowly. Read as naturally as you can. Before you begin, you will see and hear several important words from the passage on the screen. Listen carefully. Click Next when you are ready to begin. Now you will read a passage about clapping. First, read the passage silently. After the beep, you will have 1 minute to record your reading of the passage. The reading passage includes the following words: performance, audience, disapproval. Begin to prepare after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Clapping. Why do people clap their hands? In most cultures, people clap their hands to show that they like or enjoy something, such as a performance in a theater, a concert, or a sports event. In some countries, it is even common for the performer to clap along with the fans. However, the meaning of clapping has changed over time. A long time ago, clapping meant something very different than it does today. In those days, when the audience did not like the performance, they clapped and made other noises to show their disapproval. Second is picture narration.
In this task, you will see 6 pictures. You will tell the story that the pictures show. First, you will look at the pictures and prepare your story. Then you will record your story. A beep will tell you when to prepare and when to begin speaking. Do your best to speak clearly, tell an interesting and complete story, use connecting words and phrases to link the events you see in the pictures. Click Next when you are ready to begin. The 6 pictures below Show a story about something that happened at a movie theater. First, look at the pictures and prepare the story. Then you will be told when to record the story. You will have 1 minute to prepare. Then you will have 1 minute to tell the story that the pictures show. Begin to prepare after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
One day, there were three friends at the movie theater. They bought popcorn, and when they entered the room, they found their seat. When they get near to their seat, they saw an old man sitting at their seat. So they asked the old man to move aside. When the old man moved aside, they sit at their seat and they were chatting happily. And there were no one in front of that old man. But right before the movie starts, the tall man came in front of the old man, so he blocked the old man's vision. So he wasn't able to watch movie properly. For task 3, it is non-academic listen speak.
You will now listen to a talk and speak about what you heard. There are 2 listen and speak tasks in this part of the test. You will hear each talk only one time. You may take notes while you listen. You may use your notes to help you prepare your answer. You will have time to prepare your answer before you begin to speak. You will be told when to prepare and when to begin speaking. For each task, do your best to listen carefully to the talk. Answer the question clearly and completely. Talk about the important parts from the talk and give some details about them. Click Next when you are ready to begin. Listen to a teacher talking in a history class. The teacher is discussing a history assignment.
Okay, so everyone remember, tomorrow we'll be going to the library. You'll have a couple of assignments for your history class. We'll start the first one at the library.
Yes. Do we need to bring our history books with us?
No, the information we'll be looking for is not in our textbooks. That's why we're going to the library. So, for the first part of the lesson, you'll have a worksheet, which you'll have to work on while you're at the library tomorrow. At the library, you'll be looking for information about very old cities, in particular about how people used to get their water a long time ago in those old cities. You can research this topic in books and articles, and then you'll use the information you find to answer the questions on the worksheet that I'll give you. Yes, Helen?
Oh, yeah. When do we have to turn in the worksheet?
Good question. The completed worksheet is due at the end of our visit to the library tomorrow. Okay, so let me tell you about the other assignment that you're going to have to complete. The other assignment I'd like you to work on will be for homework. You'll have to use the internet. Your assignment will be to look for information about how people who live in modern cities, like the big cities today, get their water. You'll have to write a short paragraph about what you find. Well, this second assignment is not due until next week. Okay, that's it for today. So remember, we're going to meet here in class before going to the library. See you tomorrow.
Now get ready to answer the question. Imagine that your classmate was not in class today. Tell your classmate about what the history teacher asked the students to do. Be sure to talk about the following: the library, the worksheet, the homework. Begin to prepare after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
Our history teacher said we are going to the library tomorrow. And we don't need our textbook because the information we're finding is not inside our textbook. And before we go to the library, we are going to meet together at classroom. And we need to bring our worksheet. And the due for the worksheet is the end of our visit to the library. For the homework, we can use our internet to research about how the ancient modern cities got their water before. We're going to write a short paragraph about that, but don't worry. The due for this assignment is not until next week. For task 4, it is academic listen speak.
Listen to a short talk on a school subject. During the talk, you will see pictures or a video on the screen to help you understand the talk. After the talk, you will be asked to speak about what you heard. Do your best to listen carefully to the talk. Answer the question clearly and completely. Talk about the important points from the talk and give some details about them. Remember, you can take notes during the talk to help you prepare your answer. Click Next when you are ready to begin. Now listen to a teacher talking to a science class. The teacher is explaining how frogs grow.
Today, we're going to learn about the different physical changes a frog will go through while it's growing. As you can see, there are 4 stages in a frog's life. In the first stage, when the frog is born in the water, it's called a tadpole. A tadpole looks a lot like a tiny little fish. Like a fish, it has a tail, and the tail is important because it helps it swim. It also has gills. That's another thing that a tadpole has that's like a fish. The gills are to help it breathe in the water. But this is just the first stage. The tadpole will go through more physical changes over the next few weeks. In the second stage, the tadpole is beginning to look more like a frog and less like a fish. Now the tadpole has little legs. First, the tadpole grows legs in the back, and pretty soon it starts to grow legs in the front, too. Next, in the third stage, the tadpole grows into a froglet, which means a small frog. The froglet has fully developed front and back legs. It still has a tail, but the tail is much shorter. Another important physical change is that the froglet starts to grow lungs. It will need those lungs because soon it'll move out of the water and onto the land, and it will need its lungs to breathe air. Okay, so we're now looking at the fourth stage. In this last stage, the froglet becomes an adult frog. The tail is totally gone, and the adult frog looks just like the frog that we know. The adult frog lives on land and breathes air through its lungs.
Now get ready to answer the question. Talk about the physical changes a frog goes through. What happens at each stage? Be sure to include as many details as you can about each stage. Tadpole. Tadpole with legs. Froglet. Adult frog. Begin to prepare after the beep. Begin speaking after the beep.
For tadpole, it looks like a little fish and it has tail. Tail is important for tadpole because it helps to swim. And it also has gills. Gills helps to breathe in the water. For tadpole with legs, it has little legs, but it grows back first and later it grows to the front. For froglet, it means small frog. The tail will get shorter and then it's going to have lungs. And it has a little bit bigger leg. For frog, the tail is completely gone and it stays outside of water. That's all for Toefl Junior speaking test. I hope to see you here in Easy English Institute Cebu.